All right, let's dive in. Today we're tackling navigation and survival. We've got science, survival guides, even retail websites, all because you want to know what happens when technology fails.
Right, like your phone does right when you need it most.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What can you do? So we're going to look at how we navigate, the science, practical tips, and some pretty incredible stories.
Really makes you think, we're so used to that blue dot on our phones.
Right.
But our brains are actually amazing at navigation, constantly figuring out where we are.
So how does it all work? This one article talks about path integration.
Oh,
Is that as complicated as it sounds?
it's like an internal pedometer. Think about it. You can walk around your living room with your eyes closed and not bump into anything.
Yeah, that's true.
Your brain's tracking your steps, the direction you're moving, making a mental map.
Okay, so that's path integration in action.
Exactly.
But what about when we're somewhere new? I mean,
Yeah.
we're not just counting steps, right?
No, that's where landmarks come in. Think of a tree on your street, a bend in the road. Those are like visual cues, right? They help us figure out where we are in a bigger space.
So our brains are using both, like internal tracking and these external cues
Yeah.
to navigate. But one article mentioned something called Bayesian cue combination. Now, what in the world is that?
Well, imagine like you're in a dense forest, you might be tracking your steps, but you also notice maybe the sun peeking through the trees, giving you a sense of direction.
Yeah.
Your brain weighs these different cues, decides which one's more reliable at that moment.
So it's deciding in the moment.
Yeah, that's Bayesian cue combination.
Wow.
Your brain's always analyzing, prioritizing to find the best way to navigate.
Like our brains are running some crazy complex algorithm.
Pretty much. And it gets even crazier when you think about animals, especially in tough environments. Take the nudibranch. It's this little sea slug.
Okay.
They track their prey using scent, but what happens in, rush water where the scents get mixed up?
Yeah, good point.
This one article suggested maybe they switch to a magnetic sense,
Whoa, really?
like a built-in compass, when scent isn't reliable.
Wow, a backup system for their senses.
It's pretty amazing, right? Nature has come up with some wild ways to solve these navigation problems.
Yeah, absolutely. But what about when we humans are lost without technology? Like truly lost?
That's where things get interesting. Our survival guides, they really stress observing nature.
But
We're so used to our devices, we miss all this information right in front of us.
so instead of staring at our phones, we should be looking up, paying attention to everything.
Exactly. The sun's position, that's east and west right there. The way clouds form, that can show you warmer areas.
Oh, interesting.
Even which way the wind's blowing, it's all valuable.
So it's like relearning to read nature.
You got it.
And sometimes nature gives us like more direct clues. The guides mention that animals can be guides. Is there any truth to that?
Oh, absolutely. You know the story of Julianne Cope, the teenager who survived that plane crash in the Amazon?
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
She followed a stream downstream for days
Wow.
until she found help. Something as simple as flowing water
Right.
became her lifeline.
That's pretty powerful. Sometimes the most basic things can lead us to safety.
Exactly. And it reminds me of something from the U.S. Army Survival Manual. Use everything you've got, including knowledge about the environment.
Okay, I like that. Speaking of using everything, the story of Ernest Shackleton's Navigator blew my mind.
Oh, yeah, Frank Worsley.
Their ship was trapped in the Antarctic ice. They had to abandon ship, sail 800 miles in a tiny lifeboat. And get this, he navigated using only the sun and stars.
Celestial navigation. Isn't that amazing?
It's incredible.
And he was so accurate. His recordings made back in 1915 were only 4 miles off from the actual wreck, which they only recently discovered.
Oh, wow.
It just shows you the power of that kind of navigation, even with very basic tools.
Makes you wonder, have we lost touch with that? With GPS and maps?
Mm-hmm.
Who needs to know the stars?
It's true. Tech has changed everything. But like we've seen, it's not always reliable. What happens when your battery dies? Or you lose signal?
Right.
Those stories, Julianne, Frank Worsley, they show us we can navigate using nature.
Yeah.
It's in us, we just have to rediscover it.
So how do we do that? The guides say observe nature.
Right?
But I could barely tell a maple from an oak. Where do I even start?
You don't need to be a botanist to do this. Natural navigation, it's a skill.
Okay.
You practice, you get better. Start by using it every day. Next time you're walking around, put your phone away.
Okay, I can try that.
Engage your senses.
But what am I looking for?
Look for anything that stands out. Which way is the sun? Where are the shadows? Is there a breeze? Can you smell anything? Like a bakery.
Okay.
Pay attention to the plants, the trees.
It's like mindfulness, just being more aware of what's around me.
Exactly. And that can help you navigate and stay safe.
Oh, how so?
Imagine walking down a dark street. If you're paying attention to the sounds, the way the light falls, you'll notice danger sooner.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about it like that.
So it's not just finding your way, it's about being more in tune with your surroundings.
To make safer choices.
Exactly. And it can help you even in a city. Tristan Gooley, he wrote The Natural Navigator.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of him.
He has great tips for city dwellers, like how pigeons gather in certain spots, or how the sun reflects off buildings, creating patterns.
Okay, so it works everywhere, not just in the wilderness.
It's a way of seeing things, being aware, that can benefit you anywhere.
So what can I do to practice?
Try this. Think of a familiar route, like going to the store, and try to map it out in your head.
While using my phone?
No phone, no GPS. Think of the streets, landmarks, the distances.
So like a mental map.
Exactly. You're building a model in your mind.
Yep.
Distances, landmarks, how everything is laid out, and the more you do it, the better your map gets.
That makes sense.
You can even try finding your way back home without your phone, or going somewhere new just a few blocks away, using only your senses and that mental map.
Ooh, that sounds like a fun challenge.
It is. It's amazing how well you can do without relying on technology.
Yeah, like a superpower.
Exactly. But the guides also talk about learning from animals.
Right, but how? It's not like they can talk to us.
Well, think about it. They've been navigating for millions of years. They have instincts, strategies for finding what they need.
Food, water,
Sure.
shelter.
Right. By watching them, we can learn a lot.
Okay, like what?
Birds, they're amazing navigators. They use the stars, magnetic fields, landmarks.
Oh, interesting.
You might see them flocking in a certain direction at certain times. Or think about animal trails.
Oh, right, the trails.
They often lead to food or water. These are all clues.
So it's like being a student of nature.
Yeah, observing the patterns, the behaviors to understand the environment better.
It's making more sense now.
And remember, it's not just what you see. Remember Julianne Kopic? She followed the sound of water,
Oh, right.
using her ears to guide her,
So it's using all our senses.
engaging with the world around us. Here's a question. Do you think paying attention like this can help us avoid danger?
You mean by being more observant, we might anticipate something bad?
Exactly. Animals do this all the time. They sense changes, a shift in the wind, a weird sound, another animal acting strange.
That could mean a storm's coming or a predator.
Right. They're picking up on cues we might miss.
So it's not just knowing how to get around, it's about being more aware to stay safe.
Trusting your instincts, that ancient wisdom we all have.
This whole conversation has changed how I think about navigation.
Really?
I always thought it was just for hiking or camping, but it's so much bigger than that.
It is. It's a way of connecting with the world around us.
Being more aware, more present.
And that awareness, that connection, that's what makes you a truly resilient navigator, not just in the wilderness, but in life.
Yeah, that's a great point.
It's not about ditching technology completely, but knowing it can fail. And having that backup system, your own internal compass.
That can guide us through anything.
It's about rediscovering that connection to nature that's always been a part of us.
It's like we have all the tools but forgot how to use them.
Yeah, our senses, our intuition, it's all there.
We just rely on technology so much.
We've neglected our own internal compass.
So how do we start using it again? If someone's listening wanting to tap into that, what's the first step?
Start small. Find a park, a trail, somewhere you know.
Okay.
Next time you go, leave your phone at home.
Whoa, no phone. That's a little scary.
It's freeing, trust me. Before you even start walking, take a moment, look around.
Okay.
Which way's the sun, shadows, wind.
So I'm like setting a baseline.
Exactly. And as you walk, notice how those things change. Does the wind shift? Different shadows? Any sounds that help you figure out where you are?
Like traffic or water?
Yeah. It's like you're a detective using those clues to make a map in your mind.
Ooh, I like that.
Here's a challenge. Pick something far away, a tree, a rock, anything, and try to walk towards it, but only using your senses.
No peeking at a map.
No map, no compass, just you and your internal compass.
That's a good one. What about those animal trails? How do I know if it's a real trail or just like a random path?
Look for signs that it's used a lot. Animal trails are usually clear. Maybe you see tracks or droppings.
Yep.
They often lead to water, food, shelter, things like that.
So if I see a trail going downhill towards a stream, that's a good sign.
Probably.
Yeah.
And remember, animals are super aware. If you see birds suddenly fly off or a squirrel freaking out,
Yeah.
that could mean trouble. Pay attention. They might be warning you.
So it's not just rules or techniques. It's about being more connected to nature.
It is. And that's what's so cool about natural navigation.
Yeah.
It's not just survival. It makes you more observant, more appreciative of everything around you.
Like we're rediscovering something we lost.
And the best part? The more you practice, the easier it gets. You'll notice things you never did before.
You'll feel more confident, too.
Exactly. Not just on the trail, but everywhere. So what's the takeaway here? What do we want listeners to get from this whole deep dive?
Yeah. What's the big message?
Go on an adventure. Get out there, ditch the tech, reconnect with that ancient wisdom you have inside.
Get a little lost, trust your senses, find your way back.
Exactly. Who knows what you'll discover along the way?
So to everyone listening, here's our challenge. Put your phone away, step into the unknown, and let nature be your guide. You might just surprise yourself.